Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developmental Psychology, DEP 2004. I am Dr. Rivera. All right, guys, in this section, I just want to briefly go over the stages of childbirth, which is going to include effacement and dilation, crowning and delivery, and the placental stage. Now, the first thing that happens is effacement and dilation. That is when the cervix begins to thin. And so it sort of gets thinner, and then that's effacement. And then it begins to dilate. So that is to sort of open up. It is dilation that causes the most pain. The cervix is a muscle. And so in opening up, is going to be quite difficult because obviously it's not a movement that happens all the time. Now, this part of pregnancy takes quite a while. It can last between a few hours to more than a day. And so, when moms say how long they were in labor, especially when they're talking about the length of it, usually they're talking about the effacement and dilation process, how long they were having contractions, and how long it took them to dilate to the point where they can go through delivery. Once effacement and dilation occurs, then their baby starts to transition down through the cervix, through the vaginal canal, so that they can begin to be born. Now, crowning and delivery is the part that most people think about when they think about pregnancy, right? You watch TV and the doctor yells out that the cervix is dilated to 10 centimeters, which is usually what doctors wait for. And then they start telling mom to push, usually when they can see the head of the baby. And that being able to see the head of the baby, that's what they call crowning. And that is usually the point where the doctors start to tell mom to push. Once the head is out, that tends to be the most difficult part. And then it might take a little bit longer to get that first shoulder out. What you're seeing here is after effacement and dilation, now the head of the baby starts to come down. This is sort of the crowning point where the head can be seen. Once the head is out, that first shoulder is going to be the harder part. Once they get that first shoulder out, then the rest of the baby is going to just sort of slip on out. But of course, it's not always easy because babies, especially modern babies, can be quite large. And first of all, our heads have to come out through the vaginal canal. And this presents certain problems. First of all, for humans, our heads are just sort of enormously big, especially in infancy compared to the rest of our bodies. Our heads are enormous. It's one of the reasons why babies can't be born breech with our legs coming out first. The problem is that our heads are so big that having to pull the baby out that way might be a little too long. And that might mean that the baby goes way too long without oxygen. Remember that by that point, if you're coming out breech, the umbilical cord is out and being pinched. So you wouldn't be able to get those kind of resources from mom either at that point. So instead, right around week 20 to around week 39 of the pregnancy, the baby will just start turning on its own in order to be head down, upside down, so that when effacement and dilation are over, then the head is the first thing that comes out. But of course, this presents another problem because we live in a culture where mom can eat quite a bit, and so baby can actually get quite a lot of calories, and sometimes that baby is really big and that head is really big. And so the head might tear the opening, the vaginal opening for mom. And so this could be, dangerous for mom because she can sort of bleed out, or if the tearing isn't, very uniform, it might take twice as long to heal. So instead, what the doctors will do is an episiotomy. And essentially what they do at that point is that they cut mom from the vaginal canal to the anus. They cut the skin there in the perineum to make the opening larger. Now, that sounds very painful. At that point, mom doesn't really feel that too much. First of all, usually mom has an epidural or some other drug. But even if she doesn't, the pain of the cut is nothing in comparison to giving birth itself. So at that point, it's not really the first thing on mom's mind, but afterwards, because the doctor makes that incision, it's more uniform, and then they can sew it up so that it makes it a little bit easier to heal than if it was just a tear, a natural tear. Also, the doctor is going to be more careful in how he makes that incision so as to not hurt mom, to not make mom bleed out or something like that. And then the last stage of childbirth is the placental stage. And most people don't even think about this, but the placenta has to come out, it can't stay in there. And so, after the baby is out and they have checked to make sure that the baby is fine, they will have mom push once or twice more. And the placenta, delivering the placenta is not as difficult as the baby. Of course, the placenta does not have an enormous head to have to get through there. And so it just tends to come out quite quickly after that. But it is sort of the last stage of the childbirthing process. Now, if an episiotomy was done, then the doctor would take that time to sew it up and make sure that it is both clean and done correctly so that mom can prepare to recover. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. And remember that the best way to contact me is directly through Canvas. I hope to hear from you soon.